At the end of the day, so I thought I'd come to your way and see what y'all doing. Y'all, I'm thanking the 92 percenters. Cause this little rest time, I'm telling y'all, this has been amazing. This has been amazing. I guess I might as well put the. Hope y'all could hear me the first time. I hope everyone is well. I was out strolling in the full moonlight, so um, I don't know if anybody's coming through, but I tell you, and you. I'm speaking with my sisters tonight. All my sisters. Where you at? Where you hiding? I know the 92 percenters. This is actually going to, I'm giving honor. This is my testimony. I know I told y'all this is my testimony time. I'm giving honor to the great mother, father, king and queen of heaven. We got both up there or out there. All the family, saints and friends. And definitely I give honor to our sister, the Sibyl sisters. So come on through, y'all. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Just get to talking. It's High Priestess Maven, HPMaven, y'all. Let's get to talking. Let's get this thing together. In my last video, I shared the prophecy of a symbol, and they said it's the Command symbol. They've been giving a lot of credit to the Command symbol, and I don't want to take away from any symbol, but it just seemed like they've been giving a lot of credit to the Command symbol. But either way, this prophecy was said to be from the Command symbol. So if you did not see my last video, the one right before this one that was live, then go check it out. I read, the only thing I read was the actual 7 seals. So I read the 7 seals because we were on the day when we had the planetary alignment. So the planetary alignment is about the 7 planets with the 7 seals. So I want to share a little bit more. I said I would share a little bit more about the planets. And that was important for me to do, especially on the 13th of March, what they call in March. I started not to say March, but because, it's just actually it's going into the full moon. So we don't necessarily, we recognize, of course, the calendar system, the Gregorian calendar, but it's a calendar of commerce and trade, a calendar of commerce and trade. So when we think about the Great Mother, the Queen of Heaven, we're dealing more so with the planetary alignment. So not necessarily the calendar system that's here with us in our physical world. We're talking about commerce and trade. We're talking about everyday banking and shopping and so on and so forth. And that's not necessarily going along with the spirit realm and the cosmos necessarily. It can be, but we have to do some little work on a little alchemy to change it up. But I just want to talk to the sisters, the Sibyl sisters, and talk a little bit more about the planetary alignment, because I want to give more of at the end of the day here, I want to give more of so I think that I have some personal questions from our secret room, and I want to share some things here with all of my serious sisters of the cosmic movement. It's a lot of great stuff going on right now, y'all. And I know what the biggest part about it, what's most exciting about it, is walking in our spiritual path and having people just kind of get in tune, because it's been so many years that I've been sharing things, and it's been falling on deaf ear because people did not get what I'm talking about, because it's from a whole other world. It really literally is. Because when you think about commerce and trade, like I was saying, a lot of people are, they go to work, they come home, and there's nothing wrong with that, myself included. I'm out there with everyone else. But when it comes to the spiritual side, that's a whole other platform, if I can put it that way. And many people who are a part of the what we call the conscious community, the spiritual community, a lot of people are very familiar with what we share here on this platform. And when I talked about, I just want to say hi to everyone. Thanks for coming in. We're just talking about planetary alignment right now. In my last video, I talked about the planetary alignment. So I kind of want to come through and kind of give some better explanations. I also read from a book, and at the time I didn't want to share the source because I wasn't too sure of the source. I hadn't did my real research on it, but now I have. And one of my favorite colleagues, I can say that in the conscious community, came through with this particular book with this author actually. So that made me feel like I would want to share the author because I know that this colleague is really on point. So here's the book. Hope you can see it. It's called The Crucifixion of Truth. And there is the author, Tony Busby. Tony Busby. He is, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't sure of the author at first. But then when I seen one of my colleagues do a whole 3-hour presentation on this particular author, I was like, okay, this is legit. This is really legit. I can definitely take some stuff from this particular book. And that's where I was able to read the 7 seals from. Get this, y'all. Dun, 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 y'all ready for this? The last days. It talks about the book of Revelation, rather, talks about the last days. And it gives us this whole spiritual vision. That's what Revelation is about. When they say that John was on the Isle of Patmos in the King James version of the Bible, which we later on find out that it was actually the Sibyl who wrote this particular prophecy. So the book of Revelation is a prophecy. It's written from a prophecy, and the backdrop is the Sibyl who wrote it. And what she wrote is completely different to a great extent because it includes the Heavenly Mother as well as the Heavenly Father. So that's the part that's missing from the King James version of the Bible. So when I first came across this information, honestly, it gave me like this really serious spiritual quickening. I was like, oh man, this is real. This is, and at first I'm like, okay, is this just my emotions or what is this? Why am I feeling like this? But then later on, like I said, fast forward, one of my colleagues that I've known for a long time in the spiritual community, he comes out with another 3-hour, almost 4-hour presentation about the Sibyl and this particular author. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go with this. So here's the book again. The Crucifixion of Truth. I have it in this this plastic because it's going into our archives, rather. The archives for ships. And if you're not familiar with that organization, it's an organization I'm a part of. It's called SHIPS, Sacred Heritage International Preservation Society. So Sacred Heritage is basically rights and spiritual rights of diasporic naturalists. So people from all over the world who believe in things like the spiritual practices of HooDoo, VooDoo, things like that, which is just means spirit, y'all. That's just a whole other language, a heritage language for that practice. So we actually keep those particular rights. And one of the rights that we want to talk about, is, especially in what's called Women's History Month, is we're going to talk about the Sibyls and their rights as naturalists and spiritists, and how when we look at the King James version of the Bible, it was really put together to stop the work of those Sibyls. So, and this is things we know as fact, based on the information that was presented in a book that was written, actually a work, it's 3 books, a work that was actually done by King James in 1597. It's called Demonology in Form of a Dialogue in 3 books. And it's by, he calls himself Prince James, but we know that it's King James. And the whole work is about how to eradicate who he calls, and I'm trying to be careful with this saying this word on my platform because I don't really want to have certain algorithms picking it up. So I'm going to say it begins with a W and then H. Okay, that's how I'm going to put it. So he wants to eradicate these women, and then later on, fast forward, we research it and find out who he was talking about actually were the Sibyls. So if you replace the word W itch with Sybils, then you come up with really what King James was talking about in that book. So I don't know how many people are familiar with the work that he did, those 3 books rather. I don't know how many people are familiar with the work that he did called Demonology in Form of a Dialogue in 3 books. I don't know. But if you read it and you see when he talks about, I mean, he goes into great detail about how to eradicate these particular W itches. But really, he's talking about the Sibyls. Okay. So here we are in today, and this at this point on the timeline, and we get to the point where we realize that this has happened. We're in women's, what they're calling Women's History Month. And the biggest part about Women's History Month to me is a reestablishing of the divine feminine. I'm just being honest about that. Because I know we talk about the physical aspect of our presence as women. We talk about the history. I always like to talk about the history, the present, and the future. Because it's not really one part, especially within HooDoo and VooDoo. It's more than one part. It's actually past, present, and future. So when we talk about women's history, we're talking about the whole gamut. So that's what I really want to continue to promote. And while we're in the month of, what is it called, March on the Gregorian calendar, we really want to make sure that we're following along with what our ancestors have done, especially on this platform. Because I have a blueprint. I don't have to reinvent many things. Although at this point, I'm putting some things in there because I'm in charge now. I like to say that constantly. I know that I have these beautiful, wonderful godmothers, mother, whom I honor, grandmothers, aunties, women in the church that just really helped to mold me, groom me. They taught me a lot of things, but I know that they've gone on. And at this point in my life, I know that it's now my turn to be one of the elders, so to speak, in the community. So what I want to do is share a lot of things. And I said I want to be able to be as transparent as possible. I want to share a lot of things about what I've learned, what I know, especially what I know, and then what I feel like we can grow with together. Because I don't know it all, but I know a lot. And I feel that, knowing a lot, I can share a lot and we can kind of bring this thing together. The thing about the great cosmic reset, what I like to share, and I told everyone I would get on the last video that I would get more into it. The great cosmic reset is about the alignment of the planets that happened on that day. All of the 7 planets, along with the Earth, we had an alignment. And this particular alignment, now to get this, some people call it the Kali Yuga, some people call it the great ending of an age. They call it also the tribulation period. The book of Revelation talks about it's just a dreadful time. It's ending. But what's happening is, as we talk about it, the reason why I brought up the Sibyls is that one of the big things that within the work demonology that I noticed that, because I did a big study on it, a really big study on it that I'm sharing, but I noticed that he wanted to take away astrology. That was a big thing. He felt like if you're doing astrology, then you really are going to be eradicated. And he was writing, I noticed that he was writing this book to a group of people. And he speaks to them, and he said it was a treatise. So I was like, okay, this is a treatise, and he's writing it to people, and he's in here telling exactly what to look for those who are considered these W itches, right? One thing he wanted to get rid of and eradicate was astrology. So when you think about it, fast forward, this is a completely separate group of books. It's 3 books that he wrote right before he did the Bible Project. So you look at this now. So he wanted to make sure that no quote unquote magic, as he calls it, it's called magic. And what he was doing was miracles in the Bible. So there was a big distinction between, okay, if these people are doing this, it's considered magic. But when we do it, it's considered miracles. I mean, it gets really deep into it. It's like great detail as to what the double standard is really interesting, but that's for another day. But either way, one thing he was attacking was astrology. And then astrology is all through the King James Bible. That's what I thought was so interesting. So what he wanted to do, now this is now I don't say allegedly, I usually say as the story goes, because that's more cultural, it's more comfortable. But what he wanted to do, as the story goes, in my opinion, he wanted to get people completely ignorant about astrology because of the power in it. And then he would then use it, get this, he would use it himself to put like a little dirty juju, as we call it in the spiritual streets of North American Southern HooDoo and Louisiana VooDoo. We call it dirty juju. So he wanted to put a little dirty juju on everybody. So if he can make other people feel that it's bad for certain people to do astrology, and then he rename it, maybe call it astronomy, wink, then it's something that would be, the sciences, and it's not magic. So long story short, you get this book of Revelation with all of this astrology in it. And then the people who are told not to do astrology, they don't know that we're really talking about planets, constellations. When it talks about the moon turning black, the sun turning black, they're talking about the eclipse. So if you think that this is just some mysterious black, and then you just have all this fear, it's really selling the fear in essence. So at this time, because we're in this great planetary reset, with the cosmic reset, where the ancients used to look at the planets is that they call them stars. So the book of Revelation, when it talks about the stars in the hands, we're really talking about planets. And they talk about the 7 stars. So now we had a 7 planet, along with the earth, reset, the great cosmic reset. So this is the great tribulation that the prophecy talked about. So here's what I heard. Now, when I actually have my cosmic, I like to call it cosmic streaming lately. I know people say channeling, downloads. There's different ways to put it, but I like to call it cosmic streaming. So here's my streaming, and I call my higher powers the Godmother Elder Fae. Now I have the Godfathers as well, but there's time when I really connect with the Godmother Elder Fae. So what I'm hearing, and this is also set up with the Kali Yuga, is that what we had with that particular planetary reset, I mean, everything was lined up. If y'all saw it, it's on my page. Everything was lined up. All the planets were lined up. So they say that this happens when we have a new age, rather, it's every 26,000 years, right? Every 26,000 years, we have this big reset. So that means that all of the processions of the sun and the moon, as well as the planets and the stars of the constellation, they all come to a place where they come back to a middle point. That is a resetting of an age. So when you have a resetting of an age, then that's just starting things over. It's really literally a clean slate. I want y'all to hear that real good. It's a clean slate. So we had all of these ancestors. We're the descendants of these ancestors. When you think about your mom and pop, then their mom and pop, and you have 2, then they'll go 4, then it goes 8, and you just go back, in time for the ancestors. Then you have descendants. They have a child. Then when you think about the mother, because we're talking about the Queen of Heaven, right? The mother has a child or more than one children. You can have multiple births, this particular lineage, and you go forward. And this is what we have for all of these different generations that have been under the influence of this cosmic connection and the cosmic rotation. Well, it's actually a dance, if you think about it. The way that the sun and the moon and the earth and the stars of the constellation just continue to rotate within our cosmos. So this big reset, what's so interesting about this reset is that at this era, anyone who's at this time or this point on the timeline is actually, in my opinion, the ones who are to usher in the next age. And then we get to reset it and then posit whatever we've learned, through our lifetimes, as well as this lifetime, it all culminates to right now. I just think that's what I heard, y'all. And I think it is so powerful. So just think about a clean slate. What would you do with a clean slate? I mean, I'm just excited about it. I'm like, I have so many things I'm doing right now that with this clean slate, that is like, I want to make sure that I'm on record to bring us and usher us into the next period, this next point on the timeline. So I had to come on and talk to my sister, and, I say I want to be like my godmothers were. The end of their day, I'm talking about these powerful, very mighty queens. I mean, we talk about now, talking about, you hear people say making $1 out of 15 cents. Y'all, how about making a kingdom out of 15 cents? These were some mighty, mighty women within the movements that I've been a part of. And I want to share that, what they've imparted in my spirit and in my life, with those who can use it. Because as my grandmother and a lot of my elders used to say, you don't know who are your up the river relatives. I really feel like because we were so scattered as a people, that now we can come together and share some things, and then be able to help each other, to make it in this era. Because so many things that are going on that are not necessarily bringing life, but we can bring our own life and then posit what we have to share at this time. I just really feel like that's just really the best way I can put it. But back to this author, I feel like, again, I'm going to share this book, The Crucifixion of Truth by Tony Busby, or Bushby. Tony Bushby. It's a new author for me. I probably said his name wrong earlier. But Tony Bushby, if you can see it. All my lights are kind of on it. Let me put it that way. There we go. Tony Bushby. So I just really found this book. And this is the book on page 280, where it had that reading I did on my last video. I'm going to take it out of here for a second. I wanted to share his book. If I'm, for educational purposes, I'm sharing what he wrote. This is actually what he shared here. This is the backdrop for the book of Revelation. And it's written by an actual Sibyl, a Sibyl mother. It starts on page 280. Make sure I got the right. Oh, yeah, this is 283. So, yeah, it starts on page 280. Let me see here. Y'all, it's really powerful. Because it's the backdrop for the book of Revelation. It's about as long as it almost. Let me see. I don't want to read it at this time. I'm actually going to put some things up so that we can look at it on a screen. Because I think it's better to do it that way. I got some provisions to do that. But be that as it may, I don't want to be on here too long. Let me see. I don't know if anybody. Yeah, nothing's really going on. I don't have any my circle, my group. But y'all want to come through, talk to y'all about the Women's History Month. And I'm saying it's not just history, it's also present and future. We don't want to just be about talking about history. We want to go forward. We want to go through all the phases. And then also, just getting on board with the fact that this is, other than that, now I want to share this too. A lot of the Sibyls used to get this going for the women, the young women, as well as the elder women. One of our main celebrations at this time is what they call Easter. But y'all know that a lot of these celebrations come from the practices of the Sibyls, especially when you talk about fertility, because we're going into the spring and the equinox is coming. So when you see all these eggs, you got to think about the mother's eggs, the queen mother, the queen of heaven. So the eggs represent what we used to celebrate. When I say we, I'm talking about the ancestors and past kin folks. Those who are considered to be the divine, who are connected to the divine feminine, we celebrating fertility, we celebrating abundance, fecundity, we celebrating all these things, but they had to shut that down because they want to replace it with their own celebrations. So we're still going to go forward in it, because I tell you one thing, what I said about this night, the 92%ers and us taking a little rest and a step back, One thing about us right now, I feel like somebody said, well, what are y'all doing while you're taking a rest? It's really not a rest for me because I'm using this time to delve into things like the history of our spirituality before it was watered down and taken from us. That's really what I'm working on. That's a main thing for me, and how we can connect with the cistern and we can actually make ourselves flow through our ancient practices, because it's time, especially with the great cosmic reset, y'all. We don't have to follow anything that was forced on us anymore. When you talk about spiritually, since it is a divine connection and it's a very intimate connection, the reason why it talks so much about weddings and talks about the being married to the spirit, because that is actually talking about more so being married to the mother father. That's talking about the procreation. That's talking about this time, spring. Y'all don't know this, but down in New Orleans, okay, y'all, I'm gonna have to do a little code switch on y'all. I started talking about like the South, and since I was born from true Southern Bells, the Southern Bells, when y'all talk about down in New Orleans, that big celebration, what people don't realize is that that was our original celebration of the Great Mother and going into the spring and fertility and men and our connection to men, and that the love connection and love craft. So all of these things, that's what that was about, y'all, down in New Orleans. It used to be a beautiful thing too. Oops, I lost my hair. It used to be a beautiful thing, y'all, before it became commercialized and people, it's just like they come and pollute a lot of things that we've done spiritually. So, but that's what it's about. It's about celebrating the Queen of Heaven and fertility. And also, honey, let me tell you, it's about men and women getting together. Talking about milk and honey. What looks like milk and honey. This is what this is. These are like things when that one scripture or verse, I like to say ancient text, it says, when I was a child, I thought as a child, but when I got older, I put away childish things. Meaning that you get to learn what these scriptures are really about, what they call in scriptures, what the ancient text was really about. And it was really about procreation, what they call the birds, the bees, the flowers, and the trees, all the germinating that happens within the springtime. So that whole procession and celebration, it used to be very wholesome. It would be the children in the daytime. We would throw candy out to them. That would be the throws. We throw candy and beads, which was really to it was really like your rosary beads. Really, it's like it's steeped in a lot of our traditions of spirituality that Catholicism kind of overshadowed in Christianity. But really, what it was, the pearls. Pearls is something that the pearl of wisdom. It talks about that a lot in the ancient text within the King James version of what he's calling the Bible. And these are ancient rituals that we did. So the throwing of the rosary beads right before Ash Wednesday, what they call Ash Wednesday, because the ash we would put on here was from our the smudging that we would do. So you have the ash and you take that and you would just put that was a cosmogram. So this is a whole other practice, which we can get into another time. But this celebration that's going on right now in the New Orleans Mardi Gras, they call it the Mardi Gras. There's also a Mardi Gras in Mobile, Alabama. I know that out in the South they call it Mobile. So this is fertility celebrations. And we get to go back because people have kind of showed us that they're not interested in us. They don't want us to help them to run this particular, system. I'm going to call it the system. So we're going to go back to our old spirituality. Like we're going to go back to celebrating the Great Mother, celebrating fertility. So, like we used to. That's what it was about. That's what it's about anyway. So with that being said, please, queens, all queens of heaven, and we are all considered to be queens of heaven because if you're in the feminine and the feminine essence, have the feminine fragrance, and then you are a mother, whether you've had actual children or not. Maybe you have fur babies. Maybe you just consider yourself to be abundant within your life and you birth ideas. Whatever the case is, you can still walk in that essence because it's about fecundity. It's about replenishing the earth with abundance. It's a whole movement. It's a whole movement that has been going on for thousands of years and hundreds of years in this country. So that's what we're getting back into. Again, you know, the 92 percenters, we said we taking a rest, but in this particular rest period, to me, I look at it like this. It's a rest. Those who know music, I come from a musical family. I've played my musical instruments as well. Got to get back to it. But one thing about music, there's a rest note. Okay, you got to rest, but then you keep on going with your harmony and your even within a symphony when you're raising the baton. They call it the baton. Some people say baton, but a baton. It's a rest note in there. So this is like our lives are like a symphony, and we're able to rest, and then we keep moving forward. So when we say rest, we moving forward in this symphony. But right now, that rest period is when you get prepared for your next part of your symphony. That's a good way to put that. So that's where we are right now while we're so-called quote unquote resting. We're going back into the things that bring us all that we need to be all that we can be as the Queen of Heaven, as the Queen of Heaven here on earth. And I hope that we're taking this time to rest ourselves, our minds, and then get into things that are really going to help us in our lives. And when we say we're resting, we're stepping back as well. The reason why we say that is because we've put a lot of sweat and tears and petitions into this system. And to me, I say it is like this. The way they did us is like a jilt. I don't want to feel like a jilted lover, but I'm gonna tell you that's what it feels like when you sit up and pour so much into something and you love something so much, like the women of color have loved the things surrounding this country. Our moms, how they tilled the land and they came into people's homes and took care of their children, cooked for them, cleaned for them. And we did all this stuff for centuries. And then we started coming into education. We're coming into big parts of government and the educational systems, teaching and helping. And then the next thing you know, it's like, okay, well, can we just have 4 little years to show y'all what else we can do? We got nothing. It's like a jilted lover. But I'm going to tell you, like, the only thing is with this one, this is a little different. This jilted lover experience, this is one of the ones when you just walk off and say, okay, you know what? I was just watching the other day, Tyler Perry. I'm saying, okay, y'all don't know by now I'm a Tyler Perry fan. And yes, I don't care if you don't like it or not. But I was watching Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And the woman married to this man. The man is very, very wealthy. And she went into the courtroom on their divorce and didn't ask for nothing. She said he can have it all. And you know why she said he can have it all? It's because she knew she can get what she needs. She didn't need him. He needed her more. You'll be surprised. When you do it like that, you letting that person know, look, I don't need nothing from you. It's just like, God rest her soul, Tina Turner. She just walked off and said, only thing I need is my name. Because I work real hard with this name. I need this name, this professional name, but I don't need nothing else from you. Because, baby, I'll get it back 30, 60, and 100-fold. So that's what the whole thing is. That's why we should be happy and not upset and take this time for real serious preparation and setting up your next move in this chess game called life. You got to move that king and that queen just right, because the checkmate is coming. I'm telling y'all, the checkmate is coming. If you just hang in there and stay true to yourself and take your positions back as queen. You got to go back to queen of your home. See, this body is the temple now. So we didn't have a whole bunch of, there's still some churches out there, and there's still some people that are part of that. And my hat goes off to them, and my heart goes out to them. I really am glad for them, because that helped me. That discipline, growing up in that discipline since the age of 5, that really did help me in my work now. And I'll always give reverence to that. But right now, a lot of us who are considered to be sovereign within the spiritual community, we're out here, and our body is the temple, and our homes. So we fortifying our homes, and we're having a shield of protection. A lot of people say it's a shield of protection that is encamped around us in the spirit realm, because we have to now navigate through a system as we all scattered out, that was never set up for us in the first place. First of all, we thought it was, but the thing is, back to that, he can have it all. That thought process. You go into the divorce court and like, now we're in the cosmic hall of justice, y'all. So we're gonna go in that cosmic hall of justice. I'm gonna tell y'all, because the Sibyls are the cosmic judges. We're gonna go in that cosmic hall of justice and give it to them all. Just give it all to them. Now I know y'all gonna be like, wait a minute, hold on, HPMaven, hold on, High Priestess Maven, don't give it all. Yes, I'm telling you, it works. Tell the cosmos everything that you felt that they took, and all that you think that, oh, I need to get this. They can have it all. Try it. They can have it all, honey. Because you know why? Because we are standing under the spout. We're standing under the spout where all good things pour out. So we're going to have more anyway because we got the abundance within us. Having this doggone womb gateway connected directly to the cosmic order, the cosmic federation, let them have it. I'm serious. If you put your trust in the cosmic order and you come into that cosmic hall of justice and say, y'all can just have it all because I got this. And you do your 4 years. 4 is a magic number. It's a powerful number, rather, because it represents foundation. You do these 4 years and you building this foundation, baby, let me tell you, it is going to be, when you think about all the stuff that they have taken and the tricksters came in, and we were a part of it because it was a time for it. And so don't be bitter. Just let them have it all. And then you go back to the cosmic hall of justice and you're going to get your fair due from there. Not from a mere mortal. Not from a mere mortal. It wasn't supposed to be like that. Don't have any attitudes. Don't be frustrated. I'm telling you, this is how I'm doing it. I'm giving my testimony. I have given it all up. I've done this in the past. Because, a lot of people, you can't feel like a jilted lover. You done poured all this in, and your mamas then poured it in, your mama's mamas, and all these aunties and relatives and past kinfolk. We didn't pour so much in and didn't really, we got to the point where it was our turn. 4 little years we asked for, and it was like, oh no, poured all our heart out, gave all our blood, sweat, and tears. Nothing. We in the cosmic hall of justice, y'all. Walk off and say, you know what? Y'all can have it all. Everything we done gave you, everything we done built up, everything we done helped with, you can have it all, because there's more where that came from. Because we know that we are the womb gateway. The womb gateway is infinite. It's not finite. Meaning it's abundant. It goes on forever and ever. It goes on into infinity and beyond. So we don't have to really stand here and look for physical things, physical treasures. We can have that and the cosmic abundance. Just let them have it. Don't walk around mad. I'm telling y'all, I've done this before. I don't know it all, but I know a lot. I've done this before. I've had people do me in a particular way. I'm telling y'all, let mama tell you. Let God mama tell you. I've had people do me in a particular way. And I know that I meant well and I gave my all, and then they did little trickster work on me. I said, okay, you know what? You can have that. And I go to the Cosmic Hall of Justice with my petition. I'm like, you know what? You see this. Y'all see what's going on. I speak to my spiritual posse, I call it. The cadre, the godmother, elder faith. Baby, when I tell them, okay, they can have it all. Next thing you know, I don't be knowing where it come from. Just all of a sudden, just abundance just start falling. I'm like, what? Where this come from? What? I mean, sometimes it's just more than I can even take. Don't be upset with this system. I know that, like I explained before, I'm a big sister. It's 6 of us. I had 5 siblings. I was the big sister, and especially in Chicagoland. Grew up in a little village called Maywood. Sis, so-and-so doing this, so-and-so doing that. And I was always the one when I was younger, come out there, figured out what's going on. since they're younger than me, I come over. I can't really beat the kid. These are some of in my neighborhood in Maywood. Some of the older people would intimidate the young children. I would come up when my siblings come up because they were all younger than me. They come to me and they were like, "Oh, so and so did this. Could you come in there?" I would just come and say, why y'all acting like this? What's going on? We supposed to be getting along." I would try to always be that person to talk to. Some of the little other older siblings would, grab them up in the collar and all. I just never wanted to be that type of person to a younger person. I thought it was bullying. So what you do is if you are considered to be the older sister, quote unquote, or somebody, an older brother even, you go and you try to negotiate. I feel like we've done enough of negotiating. So when I get to the place, if they come back and mess with my little sibling again, I will go to their brother. I'll be like, "Honey, what?" I'll find out where they live because Maywood's small. It's a couple of little blocks. It's a western suburb. You go to the parents or you go to the elder sibling and you try to get that negotiation going on. We did all the negotiating and we get to the place where it is not working. I would tell my siblings, "Okay, you know what? You need to take care of your business because I can't do it. I might get in trouble. I might go to juvie. You got to take care of your business, and then we will be able to take care of it that way. Because you can't do it." That's what I'm looking at right now. We can't really get upset with this particular system. We got to send them on out there on its own. Let them take care of themselves. Let the cosmos take care of it. Let the entities that got our back, our spiritual posse, take care of it. Let them handle it. We don't have to worry about it. And then what you see is things usually will work itself out. It will work itself out. So us 92%ers, we say, "Oh, we're taking a rest, we're stepping back." We need to mean that. Hand it over to the cosmos. Hand it over to whoever they might be, those who might be doing our bidding, those who might be on the same level. Because we always got people out there working on our behalf. Believe it or not. There are kindred spirits, and I believe it, and I've seen it. I've let things go in my life when people have done stuff that I felt was unfair or wasn't really in my favor. I've let it go, and baby, next thing you know, hi everybody that's coming in. Got somebody from Brazil. Woo! All right, I love it. My spiritual kinfolk in Brazil. The Condomblé. What's our spiritual? Okay, now we're gonna have to talk about that because we're doing a North American Southern HooDoo and Louisiana VooDoo. Brazil, what's your spiritual background? Amigos? What's your spiritual background? I would love to know that in Brazil. Let me put your name down. You know about North American Southern HooDoo, Louisiana VooDoo? We speak Kurivini. It's a African French, North American language. It's all mixed up. I don't know if you're still on here, but either way. But anyway, back to what I was saying, when I get to the place when I feel like I can't get the spiritual justice I need, my siblings, it was more so physical justice. But if you feel like you can't handle it because maybe you don't want to be a bully, and that's how I think in the spiritual realm, because I know I have spiritual connections that was able to get me out of jams before. I feel like I have a real serious spiritual connection. And I don't know that everybody that I'm dealing with has that same connection. So what I do is I feel like I don't want to bully anyone in the spirit realm, that I will go ahead and just let it just be handled out there with them in their own, some people call it karma, their own consequences, spiritual consequences. Within North American Southern HooDoo and Louisiana VooDoo, we don't really have the per se karma. We just say that you reap what you sow, because it comes from an agrarian based history and ancestry. Those who work the land and get their hands in the dirt and working with herbs and roots. So that's why we say reaping and sowing. It's based in that particular belief system. But if I feel like And I'm talking about this system, us being the 92 percenters. If I feel like I didn't really get my fair due after all that I put into something, and, I feel like, my sister come to me and say, hey, godmother, could you put some petitions out there? Could you do some divination? Could you do some juju work? And mojo, could you put it out there? I'm like, okay, well, is this justified? Is the first thing you got to ask. Is it justified, the work that you want me to do? Meaning that is the person that you're trying to do this work against, and we're going to say the whole system, the 92 percenters, we became, we said we're going to step back. Is it justified? Well, is there something that the cosmos needs for us to learn within this? Stepping back to me is really necessary at this point. As a people, as women, we do need to step back because there's a lot of things that I feel like we need to take care of for ourselves, that we've been using so much energy on others. So let them handle it. Let them handle it. Let whatever the powers that be, once you step back, you will be amazed at the things that can happen. You will be amazed. When I have let go in the past and I've done all I could do, we didn't walk, and we didn't march, and we didn't petition, and we didn't help people, and we were able to raise businesses up to be multi-million-dollar business. Every time they need to grow business, they come and get us. And then when they get real good, they feel like they got their foot and they go walk off, run off with the money. You know what? Keep it. I'm telling y'all, keep it. I don't want nothing from you. I tried to get it the right way. We tried to be, nice, sweet, love on you, thinking that we're going to get our position and get our fair due. We didn't get it. Keep it. Because it's more where that came from. We are the ones who hold the keys to the cosmic abundance locker, the vaults. So you got your tricks, and you did your little tricks to work, and used our services and our acumen and our spiritual prowess and so on and so forth. You got what you needed. You thought we were going to get some out of it. Whether or not in the beginning you were going to help and share one day, I don't know. But I do know that it didn't work. But what it did, the next thing it did by us being in this whole little system, this game, this tournament, is that we realize what don't work. And we realize the grass is not green on the other side of the fence. You know how it is when you looking over there like, oh, well, man, if I just had... Now we know it don't work. We know without a shadow of a doubt that this will never work. That's the good part about it, because we know, okay, I can walk on off, go on into my vaults. I'm not going to say a vault. I'm talking about the cosmic connection that we have. We got all kinds of abundance that be coming down. Serious. And then babe, I'm telling you, this is my testimony. When I have done and went and made and happened and brought and built, because I have the gift of abundance. I just do. I'm just thankful to the cosmos. I'm not saying that to boast or brag. But when people come to me and they're not coming in a manner in which is wholesome, and they getting a whole bunch out of me, and then all of a sudden I'm realizing, like, wait a minute, I thought we was partnering, and next, they're like, oh yeah, we gonna get it, and they just pulling from me and pulling, and I'm free. Look, I'm free in giving because I know abundance always comes. I'm just being honest, and then the people can see that, and they see that and take the kindness and the giving for a weakness. They just start pulling and pulling and pulling. I feel like that's our story, because it's so natural for us. A lot of us, as people, as mothers, sisters, daughters, professors and principals and bankers and real estate agents and insurance brokers and all of us who do these type of work, butchers and bakers, candlestick makers, dressmakers, every level. We give our ideas and our talents because it's so much more where that came from. We could just say a word, or say a statement or a phrase, and it just spreads like wildfire. Because it's just so abundant, it just drops down. And we think, oh, if I give you this, then one day, and our ancestors thought that too, and our past kinfolks. And that's how I can be. I'm serious. I would just be like, ooh. And they're like, oh, well, come on in here. Then the next thing you know, I'm on board, and and people are getting and getting and getting. And I'm just ideas just dropping. Oh. Then it's like my turn to get or do or whatever. So it can be the smallest thing. I might go ahead one day. Oh, people it's like they don't want to give. That's how I see this whole tournament that happened. The reason why we said we're going to step back. I want to give this the best explanation, especially in Women's History Month, because people are studying history, and you can see down through the years, and even in the present, you just give and give. I think about KH, and I'm gonna go there, y'all. KH, I have been in her position so many times. I mean, lively, giving love and funny experiences, and just spreading all kinds of joy and love and happiness and fun, loving times and ideas and fashion tips and the Chuck Taylor thing. Oh, I remember that well. I'm from that era. I'm from that point on the timeline. I've been there, honey. You come into a room and people think that because you speak a certain way, you don't have the fragrance and then all of a sudden you done did all that and they just like, boop, bye. You pulled and okay. You just throw you out the door. It's not funny. I'm chuckling out of like a nervous laughter. But stepping off and back after you've been brought into something for a different purpose, you thought it was wholesome. The next thing you know, you found out it wasn't wholesome. Babe, I'm going to be calm, like the young lady told me one time. I'm going to be calm. Just step on back. I'm telling y'all how to get this with this cosmic alignment that just happened. Now we get to wipe the slate clean. So anything that was once yours and your ancestors and your past kinfolks, and they gave all that, I'm telling you, the divorce settlement in the cosmic hall of justice, just say you can have it all. And then we got to think, and I love giving this example, we got to think about Tina Turner. She said he can have it all. That lady, wow. God bless her. God rest her soul. The abundance. Simply the best. Just move forward and walk into when you hold, especially Women's History Month and fertility, we're moving into, we're going all the way back to our ancient practices of this is a fertility time. We're ending the shadow season. 6 months of shadow season started on the fall equinox. Now we're going into the spring equinox. We get into abundance season. You're going to turn. This is a perfect time for this. That cosmic alignment happened. The perfect time. Just like Tina Turner, as I was saying. When she walked on off and she started moving into her actual, she wasn't in bondage no more. Y'all, this is coming on home for me. I'm going to preach this sermon, y'all. Let me preach this. She was not in bondage no more. So that meant, so if she can do all that in bondage, like she was, bound up, what can you do when you come out of bondage? That's what the whole abundance thing is about, y'all. That's why, especially coming into springtime, this is the time to tap into abundance. Because we're moving into a time when you'll see the eggs. If you switch this, I'm telling you, if you take back your queen of heaven within and you go back to your throne and you make this body a temple, as it talks about in the Gospels, as they call them. The New Testament talks about the body being a temple. And know ye that ye are gods. If you do that right now and the great cosmic reset has happened, and you go back to the original ways in which we actually celebrated this time, this point on the timeline, and what is known as spring. I'm not talking about the calendar system. I'm talking about the actual alignment of the cosmos. I'm talking about between the sun, the moon, the planets, and the stars of the constellation, and your own body temple, and your dome, your crown. And you align that up in springtime coming, and as we ending the shadow season and you going into the spring, you come to that particular time, that draw that line in the sand. I say, okay, I'm like, shadow season was about getting it together, taking some time, the real rest for the year. The 13 moons, y'all. Now think about the 13 moons. Okay. The 13 moons, the real rest. We did that in the shadow season. Okay. Now we're coming into the springtime, which is our new year. Springtime is, when you're a spiritualist, the springtime is the new year, y'all. Okay. Y'all hear me? Springtime is the new year. That's what the whole celebration in Mardi Gras, they still celebrating it like that. Matter of fact, there's different places where carnival goes on, especially in Brazil. I had someone from Brazil. I have to get in touch with who that is. But now, the Carnival, okay, the Carnival, it is about celebrating at this time of year, celebrating the coming of what they call the light again, the sun. Right, we're coming back into the daylight. We're coming from the shadow season into the daylight. That's that split and separation. And I say it's 6.5 months of shadow and 6.5 months of light. So that's where we're at right now, y'all. So what we're gonna do, this is powerful. We're gonna be able to go into this now, just have the cosmic alignment, and we starting on a clean slate, and we're going back into our sacred, spiritual, temple worship rituals. And we connected with the cosmos, great mama pop, and we taking both feminine and masculine, putting them back together so they can cause abundance. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to know how powerful this is going to be. That's how powerful we walking in it. So that's how we win. So that's why in this cosmic hall of justice, y'all can have it. I just want my name, which is what? Your name, your soul. That's why that was so powerful. We want back the name, the spirituality, the land, which that's a whole other part, right? And our actual language. That's the 4 pillars of society right there, of a sound society. They go back to that number 4. Okay? Whew. Y'all, I'm taking this far. I'm taking this farther than I meant to take it. This is all just coming to me. I'm telling y'all, streaming from the Godmother Elder Faye. This time right now is so, if you can tap into the time right now, oh my goodness. Women's History Month, Women's Present Month, Women's Future Month. I'm telling you, tapping into it. Get back into your Queen of Heaven. Start reading that King James Version of the Bible in first person, especially the New Testament. It's the Old Testament too, but the New Testament, that's about the 4 Gospels, is actually the 4 seasons. Y'all, I don't even want to get into this just yet. It's the 4 seasons. And now we're going into the spring season. Y'all, that's a whole other day. I said I was going to say that. And I gave y'all a sneak peek. The 4 Gospels. And how that, I'm going to give you a little snippet. A lot of theologians don't even know what the whole gospel, the new gospel, is about. Because Judaism, that is from the Old Testament. So they got that. They got it on the Torah, and it's a breakdown of it. It's a whole breakdown of it. Why don't I go there since I'm talking about it? The Old Testament, let me get here. This is really Old Testament. History and law of Moses is in the first 5 books, from creation to approximately 1406 BC. That's what that is. So that's the books of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Okay. Then we get into the history. Now, history and law is the first 5 books. History is in the next 12 books. That's approximately 1604 BC to 470 BC. And this is all saying before Christ. Y'all seeing that? That's what the BC stands for, before Christ. And this is actually from like seminary type of knowledge. Like I said, the Bible, as a lot of people know, is not the teacher's edition. It's not. Just like they didn't want you to know about astrology. And I'm saying I'm not, just like that. I should say they don't want some people to know about astrology because they didn't want them to know that the Book of Revelation was based off. A lot of this is based off of astrology. They don't want people to know that. That's actually following as parishioners. But the clergy can know. The ones who are considered to be the teachers can know this. But the students, they have to learn it eventually. But they keep the ancient text or the Bible as you know it in the form of a student's edition and what I call cradle mysteries, so that you will not have the knowledge of, well, we want to say the priests. And I won't get into why they don't want you to have knowledge, but either way, they just won't keep it with certain class of people. I'm just honest, in the system. But this is before Christ. And they teach it to you as the cradle mystery, which is, you can teach it. You notice how you can teach the way that they share in the King James Bible? You can teach it to children even. It never really has a progression. They teach about Noah's Ark, and a lot of adults even believe that there was actually an ark where all the animals went in and Jonah was swallowed by a whale and stuff like that. Well, those are cradle mysteries, I like to say, because the knowledge of it, in all honesty, goes a lot more deeper. It's vast knowledge. It's just a lot. But yes, the history is in the 12 books. And then you have, this is what I say would be the Sibyl's knowledge for real. The poetry, wisdom, and song is in the 5 books. And that would be where you would find a lot of things that didn't really have the political, I'm just going to say, call it what it is. It didn't have the same political flavor, if I want to put it that way. The political backdrop within those 5 books of poetry, which was Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon. Then, now this is what I really want to get into this. The prophets were the 5 larger books and 12 smaller books, written from approximately 740 BC to 530 BC. Now, I'm going over this because I want you to notice that they didn't say what the poetry, wisdom, and song, the 5 books, what era it was from. Because the Sibyl goes back thousands of years, the Sibyls. And they knew that they took a lot of this from the great mothers, the Sibyls. That is the poetry, wisdom, and song of Solomon's. So the rest of the books, they had an era because it's more based in politics. So the reason why I got into this is because I want to then go into the New Testament. And this is where this is what I want to get us into, the New Testament. Now, y'all notice they had the dates and so on and so forth. But I want to show y'all the story of Jesus, the 4 books. Okay, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Y'all know what? There's no dates. Because now we got the clock going off. Hold on. Okay, it's just noisy. It just distracts me. You probably, I don't know if you can hear it good, but they don't have any dates on it. Then they get into the Acts of the Apostles, one book from Jesus' ascension into heaven in Rome, to Paul's arrival in Rome. Okay, then it says approximately AD 30. So the book, now this is very interesting to me. So they got the dates for that, other letters, and the revelation of Jesus Christ. So the other letters would be Paul's letters to Christians, 13 books. And then, of course, the 8 books would be the other letters. These are all letters, the rest of it. So you get the 4 Gospels, then you get the Acts, from talking about Paul going into Rome, then the Acts. And then you have the letters, Paul's letters, no dates, other letters, no dates, and the Revelation, no dates. So I want y'all to ponder on that, but we're going to go back to the story of Jesus. They don't know nothing about when that came from. Nothing. Because it was the Sibylline prophecies. They call it Sibylline, but I say Sibylline, like bloodline. A lot of these were the prophecies. And one particular, the story of Jesus, I want to teach this a completely different way, especially for what they call a Woman's History Month. History, this is definitely history. It's like on these little bookmarks is what I read it from. I don't know if you can see it good. But I want to read it from the perspective of the birth, the abundance, the womb gateway for what they said was a demigod. Y'all know how powerful that is? A demigod is a half man, a woman, half god, goddess. But this story, they say, comes from the temples. When I say we're going back into the temples, these are from the temples, y'all. The temples of whom? Isis and Osiris. Yeah. The Gospels. That's why a lot of those theologians in the seminary don't teach this. This is ancient wisdom. So, give it all away. Everything that we think that they might have took. Because now it's time to get into this real knowledge. The knowledge that's going to bring us our continued abundance. Mark my word. It's so worth it to just let them have it. Because we can clear our mind, clear our spirits, clear our souls especially. Because I'm about that soul, the soul reset that has happened. And like our ancestors, you look in the sky and they would say that the past ancestors and past kinfolks are in the sky. They saw the stars as saints, the saints that have passed on. We can allow them to just be free now because we're down here as the first line saints or the second line. That's the first line. So when you see processions of homegoing services within New Orleans, they still celebrate like this. They call the ones who follow with the music, the trumpets and the saxophones and the drums and the tambourines. They call it the second line, right? That's the second line. The first line is when they go on in to be with the stars, the saints. This is our ancient practices. This is what we bringing back because it worked for thousands of years. This new stuff we were doing for the past 400 some years with this book, that was something else. That was soul entrapment. So now we no longer be bound up. We're supposed to be released out of that doing this revelation according to what the revelations are talking about. They want to keep you bound up. No, we're supposed to be released out of that and go on and fly. We got to go ahead and get on up there. The zozo. That's bird in Creole, in Kurivini. Zozo. Like Zora, the bird of the sun. Zozo paradis, the bird of paradise. Move on up, y'all, and let them have it. And I'm telling you, the whole connection that we've had for so long, whoo, honey, there's more where that came from. I promise you. This right here, if we start telling this in Women's History Month, the story of Jesus was really the story of Isis and Osiris. Oh yeah, they've always been after our children. The seed, the flowing river of life through the flower of life, which is the uterus. They call it the Eucharist, the cup, the coop. The cup is the uterus. That's the flower of life. That's always giving, birth through the mother. The Queen of Heaven is where the abundance comes from. That's what keeps flowing. The river, the waters of life, all of these metaphors and allegories, parabolic statements and phrases. This was bringing us back to our original practices. So we get to go into that again, start doing that again. And it actually is a good thing. It feels good to think about being back to what we know, what is natural, what is real to us, what is our birthright, what is our right in our souls, as we continue to celebrate those who came before us, those who loved us unconditionally, not those who want to use us. So the whole jilted lover thing, some people leave out of those relationships, those terrible relationships, upset, breaking things, bust the windows out your car and all that kind of stuff. No, we don't have to do that no more. Because just let them have it. That's a person who walks away free in their spirit to say, I done what I could do. I loved the best I could. And the person just didn't want me. Well, you know what? Free will is, hey, just that, free will. If you don't want me, okay, I'll go. But I just want to keep my name, which is my soul. I'm keeping my soul. That's it. I will go. You can go your way. You can have all that my soul gave, that my soul poured out abundantly. But I'm keeping my name. I'm keeping my spirituality. I'm keeping my land, on which I stand. And I'm definitely going to keep my language, which is the language of love. It's real. It's real. And everything that we have gained in the past through experiences and lessons, take it on with us and keep on learning. I'm telling you, I have journals. I have many, many journals of my life lessons. And I promise you, this is a testimony. You don't have to do anything I'm saying. But I promise you, if you follow that whole, go to the Cosmic Hall of Justice and say, let them have it. Watch and see. It's worked for me. Life will turn around and you'll see many, many things. Love you. High Priestess Maven out. All the best to you in progress.